So I've been seeing a few posts about boredom lately, and it made me realize that a lot of people just don't really have something interesting that they can perhaps work towards or build upon. And so instead, it's like, well, that energy needs to go somewhere, and if it's not going to go towards something meaningful, then it's just going to go towards something else, right? That being consuming content or just indulging in whatever it is. Now, one of the biggest changes I've sort of experienced is working on a creative project. Working on something which is interesting to me, so that I can build on consistently, and that just feels good to do, right? It feels fulfilling to do. Now, at the moment, I would say that I have two of these. I've got my YouTube, which I'm sort of recording content for, and I've got my AI game development, which is also really fulfilling. And what I've noticed is that these are things that I want to do, and these are things that I put energy towards. I don't have to do them, I can stop them whenever I want to. But point being is that I can consistently turn up and I can give my energy to these things and just build things that are meaningful to me, right? And I know that these are the things that in the future are going to really start to pay off as long as I stay consistent with it. The point being is that this is a creative project where I can give energy towards. And I think a lot of guys around my age just don't really have that creative project. Now, right, like obviously, there's things around self improvement, like, go to the gym that you've probably already heard before. But no one really talks about having something creative that you can work on. Right now, yeah, it could be a hobby or it could be something which you would eventually like to turn into something that's making you an income. For example, for me with the YouTube and the whole AI game development. The point being is that I'm doing my stuff because I want to do it and I enjoy doing it. And when I see content around of people just consuming loads and loads of content, or just, people simply just spending all their time on things which are perhaps a little more empty, it really does just make me wonder what sort of interest that they have. And I'll see some people that will say that they don't really have any interest. They don't really know what they like. And honestly speaking, you're only going to know when you start trying things out. Because, for example, right, I didn't just jump into the AI game development, right? What I did is that I spent 3 years building up a business, which I eventually came to hate and pretty much shut down, only to then realize that, well, actually, I quite enjoy using AI. I quite enjoy building systems like I did for my business with AI. So, and I also quite enjoy playing video games. So, could I not make video games with the help of AI? And that's when that idea sparked. And I've now been doing that for, I don't know, like maybe 4 or 5 months now. And that's been really good. And I mean, I'm planning to release or apply to release my demo within the next 7 days. So the point being is just find something creative that you can give your energy to. Because, people will say, well, how do I stop wasting time? How do I, stop this bad habit? It's like, look, if there's nowhere for the energy to go, right? Because this is in my experience, right? I found that if there was nowhere for the energy to go, it was just going to go back to where it was, right? It just felt familiar for it to go back to where it was. But if you've got some creative project that you want to work on, maybe it's starting a YouTube channel, maybe it's doing whatever it might be, figure out what that is, have small actionable steps so you can just get into it a bit easier. And then from there, you can just start redirecting your energy to those more meaningful things. And this isn't about saying you just remove, all the other things that you were doing, right? What it is more so about is that if you are feeling bored, it shouldn't have to be the default that you go and you're consuming content and you're whatever you're else doing. You should be able to find that or push that energy towards those more meaningful spaces. So what this video is about is pretty simple. If you're someone that feels bored and doesn't really know what to do with your time, and perhaps you've got a good few hours every day, start building on creative projects, right? Pick one thing, maybe even two if you really want to, and just start building on it and make sure that these things are actually meaningful to you, right? And sometimes you're not really going to know, right? But I would just try and pick a interest and just start building toward it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And at the end of the day, this is your interest, not other people's. So if other people have an opinion, just ignore it. Point being, just start building on these things because I tell you what, it's going to pay off and it's just going to allow you to feel like you're building more things that are going to develop you as a person. So that's all for this video. Let me know what your thoughts are I'll chat soon.